What's up, everybody? Chev here with a Overwatch 2 beta update. I finally fixed my graphics card issues with Adobe Premiere, and I am going to be recording a lot more video now that I can render it with less than 24 hours. So here we go. This is one of the first videos I'm going to do, just kind of super casual, on the fly. Try to get this out the door as fast as I can because the beta for Overwatch 2 begins in 20 minutes. And if you haven't received your invite, worry not. They have not gone out yet. They go out when it starts. There is a way to guarantee that you get an invite, and we're going to go over that here in the video pretty soon. But if you don't get in on it initially, there will be this other option to do so. So just stay tuned. I am going to go over two things. I'm going to go over the page where you sign up and the frequently asked questions there, and then we're going to dive into a blog post from yesterday and just kind of analyze everything from there real quick, just to make sure we've sussed out all the official details we can about the Overwatch 2 beta for those of you who are interested. So let's go ahead and just get started.
You're watching Chevcast. Unfreaking believable.
And we'll drop into, here's the page. Okay, so it's playoverwatch.com /en-us. You can see that up here, hopefully, /beta. And then this last part is just if you click the button, it will drop you down. So that part of the URL is not important. We can cut that off and just reload it, and it will still take you to the right page here. Okay, there, /beta. I guess you do have to have the trailing slash there. Otherwise, it will redirect you to the home page. So just keep that in mind because it's beta with a trailing slash. Don't remove it. Okay, on this page, this is where you sign in. You just need to be logged in. If you scroll down here, you'll notice it has a big sign up button. I've already signed up. It just doesn't detect me as logged in. So if I do that real fast, you will see that I am indeed signed in. So, and that I've already signed up. So it says, thank you for signing up. That's what it looks like if you're done. You will get a confirmation email. That is not your invite. It's just confirming that you signed up and that you are in the pool to potentially get an invite. Okay. Real quick, let's go over some of the frequently asked questions. First, how are closed beta participants selected? Mostly it's going to be selected on your hardware specifications. I'm a developer. If I was testing software like this, I mean, obviously I don't work for Blizzard, but if I was, I would imagine that hardware specs are probably the biggest thing that needs to be tested in betas like this. You want all the low-end, mid-range, high-end machines that you can get to participate, and so you can gather data on any sort of conflicts with specific setups, specific software, drivers, you name it. Laptops, desktops, there's tons of GPUs, CPUs. There's so many things that could go wrong, and beta is really the only way to get that taken care of. So yes, so as far as who's going to be selected, it does look like they are taking in when you sign up into account, but don't hold your breath too much on that because it's mostly going to be hardware specifications. You may just not have the specifications they're looking to test. So I mean, they're probably going to test everything to a certain degree, but it might be 10% of this hardware setup and 30% of this one. And if you fall into one of those smaller percentages, like I probably do, I imagine the high-end gaming rig, a 3080 with a Core i9 and a bunch of RAM and solid-state drives, I imagine they're probably not too worried about that, right? Like, they want to test it, but that's the ideal scenario for how your game is running, and you're not probably too worried about that as a developer. You're more worried about running it on the low-end machines and the end users that don't keep their PCs so neat, and they have just tons of other software installed, and their desktop's a mess, So that's you want to test and see what we conflict with across the board. I used to have a conflict with video games with a program called TeamViewer because it would try and inject this little share this window button into the title bar and alongside the minimize and close buttons. But it would even do that and try to inject that into games, and then the game would crash, and so would TeamViewer, and so I had to turn that off and uninstall it. But it took trial and error to narrow that down just as an end user, and you might not even know as a developer, your game might be sending you info that it crashed, but you still might not know why. Right? Like it just tried to manipulate the game in memory or something to try and inject this UI button. There's all sorts of things that can happen to cause your game to crash. So the more data they can gather, the better. If you are participating, definitely, and you encounter issues, definitely provide them with feedback. and details of how you got to where you were and what happened. Just as much as you can provide, it really does help. Trust me. Coming from a developer, trust me. When you're debugging and having repro steps to reproduce the problem, it's just a breath of fresh air. Just saying it broke, that doesn't really help because it's software. It breaks a lot depending on all sorts of situations and contexts. Okay, you do need a copy of Overwatch 1. I'm going to just touch on this real fast. I recorded this video once already, and then my audio wasn't working. So that was pretty great. So I spent a lot of time talking about this. I'm going to give a shortened version this time. Overwatch 2 is not a new game. Overwatch 2 is an expansion to Overwatch 1, but it's marketed like a new game. And that's kind of like they get to have their cake and eat it too, because the developers get to just iterate on the one game they already have, which is great. And then the marketers and shareholders, they all get to have their sequel so they can come out the gate with a launch price and have that big influx of cash. So that's the whole point of calling it Overwatch 2. Now, it is a lot of big updates. I mean, it may be justified or not in your mind, whether it's Overwatch 2 or not. But ultimately, technically, it's just an expansion. You're not going to have Overwatch 1 and 2 in the launcher together. If you buy Overwatch 1 but not Overwatch 2, you are just going to have the Overwatch 1 features, except you're also going to have the PvP features, because while they can gate the PvE content behind the Overwatch 2 label, they can't really split their PvP base up between the two. And they could, but they don't really want to. Way back in the day when it was like Halo 2 started doing maps and Halo 3, and you had to buy the maps, that became a problem for them, because now they had to matchmake people with the maps with people who had the maps, and the people who don't have the maps can't play on those maps, etc., etc. So it just becomes a convoluted problem, and games these days tend to avoid it. So I imagine, I'm pretty positive, actually, that Overwatch 1 will just get a big PvP update, and you'll have it, whether you buy Overwatch 2 or not. And then if you buy Overwatch 2, it's just going to unlock that content later. I'm imagining you're not even going to have the option to buy Overwatch 2 yet. I'll bet you we get the PvP changes before you even have the option to buy Overwatch 2, because those are going to just come as kind of a pre-patch update to the PvP arena environment. The game engine will receive whatever updates it has coming in, and then all the extra stuff, the story content and whatever else they're working on that they can gate you out of without you buying Overwatch 2, they're going to do that. So that's my prediction. I might be wrong on some details there, but I'm pretty positive that's how it's going to work. There's no consoles in this beta. There's a reason for that. Consoles require certifications in order for updates to make it to their platform, and it's easier for Blizzard to just iterate on their PC client, especially in the early betas where they want to pivot really fast and test something specific or change something that's everyone found an edge case problem that they're having. We need to fix that fast for this beta, and they can do that real fast, whereas console players would have to sit and wait. So PC only for now, and remember, it's Windows only. There's no Linux or Mac client. So you need to have a gaming PC of some degree, and you need to own Overwatch 1. So you do have to have a copy of Overwatch 1. How will I know if I'm selected? You will get an email. It says you will receive an invite email. One thing to keep in mind about email is it's slow. Most companies do not invest a lot of resources into their email sending architecture, which means that 24 to 48 hours is the window in which you might receive the email. If they're going out in batches of millions, it's going to take a bit. So just keep that in mind. One thing to note, though, is that while that's going on and the emails are going out, let's say you got in, right? You are part of the pool that's going to participate, but your email is at the bottom of the queue, and it's going to take forever for you to get your invite email. Well, I imagine because it's your account that's being enabled, I don't think you're going to need a code. I think your account's just going to be enabled. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you're just going to see a thing on your account, and I'm guessing it'll be right here. I could be wrong again. Like I said, it could be a code that you have to put in somewhere. Maybe you have to redeem the code on the shop, in which case you'll have to wait for the email, and then you'll go to the shop, and then you'll have to go to somewhere in here is a redeem thing. I know it. I've seen it. There it is. Redeem a code. And then that will probably will get you in. So if there's a code, that'll be how it is. I imagine, though, there probably won't be, because you had to sign in with your Battle.net account to opt in, which means they can just enable your account. So that means that throughout the day, maybe once an hour or so, just come back here and check. Close this app altogether. Don't just close it, minimize it to tray, because it will just go to the tray in Windows. Make sure you actually right-click the tray icon, close it, reopen it to make sure that this thing keeps updating. I think you can also come to somewhere over here and check for updates, maybe on the client itself. Maybe not. I thought there was a check for updates button. It does it automatically. So you may just have to do that. But anyway, yeah, so come here and check this drop down. That's where I'm almost positive it's going to show up there, because like this is where the test versions of the game would be, and you'll have to install it side by side with a regular Overwatch, I'm sure. It's not going to override your current game. So yeah, so make sure you come here and check that drop down. Because you might, if you are in, it's very likely that you will get that access here before the email ever shows up. Okay, done repeating myself on that. How many players do you plan to invite to the closed beta? That is entirely dependent on what they need. It's probably going to start out smaller and then expand. They're going all the way till May 17th for this, which is cool. Lots of time for us to get in on this beta. And yeah, so you'll have plenty of time to get your invite. So even if you don't get it today or tomorrow or even this week, you're very likely to get it by May 17th. My guess is with a window this long and the guaranteed way to earn your invite that I'm about to go over, those are pretty telling to me. It means that probably everyone's going to get in by the end. Like I said, great assault, but pretty sure, given the vibe I'm getting from all of this, that's how it will be. Excuse me. Okay. So that was the page where you sign up, and it's just got a few FAQs. This page is a blog post, news article from yesterday from Blizzard that covers things in a lot more details. So we're just going to take them in order, and I'm going to try and knock them out pretty fast because this video is already going on a little long, and the beta starts in 9 minutes. So here we go. How will I know if I'm selected to participate in the Overwatch 2 beta? You'll get an email. Okay, we already went over all the different ways. Make sure to check that Battle.net client. How can I opt into the Overwatch 2 PvP beta and how are players selected? We did that already. You already know. You go to that other page, you sign up. Yes, you need Overwatch 1. Will there be any other ways to get into the PvP? Okay, so here it is. You can watch 4 hours of select streamers, and you will get a Twitch drop with your beta invite. I studied this wording very carefully to make sure there's no waffling, there's no vague language. Players can participate in our Twitch Drops program to earn beta access by watching specific Overwatch 2 PvP beta streams under the Overwatch category during defined time windows. Check out the full list of participating streamers and additional details below, which we'll get to in a second. But that pretty much says to me you will get an invite. If you watch it during that window and you watch the 4 hours, you will get the drop. Now, there's a few things there that I just want to leave you guys with, which I'll go over right towards the end, just to make sure that nothing goes wrong when you're trying to get your Twitch drop. So if you really care about getting into this beta, stay tuned, and I will give you all the tips I have to make sure that you absolutely get that code, okay? Will there be any other way? Oh, we already read that one. What platforms will the PvP beta be on? PC only, no Mac, no Linux, no consoles. Just remember it's PC only. So if you don't have a PC that can run Overwatch, and you don't own Overwatch on PC, then you will not be invited to the beta. Will there be future betas? Yes, we are planning additional tests beyond this first PvP beta. The wording here is a little weird because we are planning additional tests beyond this first PvP beta. And I don't know if that means there's going to be more PvP betas, or because this could apply either to, it could say, first of many PvP betas, or it could just be first test of many tests with the way the grammar is here in this sentence. So I'm guessing, my guess is that they're going to get all the feedback they can between now and May 17th. They're going to polish anything that's got problems. So anything fundamental, which I imagine there's probably not going to be too many. Blizzard's usually got some pretty polished betas. They're going to change anything that's like super egregious. But then the time they need after that is really just to do any sort of bug fixes, and then also to layer on the internationalization, the matchmaking, the endorsements, all those other features of Overwatch that depend on the core mechanics not being in flux anymore. Once the core mechanics are set and they're happy with it, then they'll start layering on those other features again. Like I said, the endorsements, the matchmaking, all that good stuff. So they are going to have to take some time and do that, I'm sure. Same thing with like internationalization, translating it to other languages. That's like one of the final steps because you don't want to have to retranslate things over and over again. Okay, so they're probably going to do that. What languages are supported in the beta? Again, like I said, because internationalization happens as a last step, English only during the beta, unfortunately. So sorry, guys. If you're international or you speak only a foreign language or something, that's going to be pretty rough. Hopefully you can still enjoy it, even if it's in a language that you can't understand. Although if you can't understand English, then you're not watching this video. So, so we're stuck in a paradox there. All right. If I get invited to the PvP beta, can I stream or create content about the game? Yes, you can. Absolutely, 100%. This beta is doubling as a marketing tool. Trust me. So yeah, so while it is a test and you should care about the developers getting proper feedback, be nice to the developers. Please do not harass them. Even if you're very, very passionate about something, I'm a developer. I respond to positive feedback, even if it's critical of what I'm doing. I like feedback. I really do. But not if it's toxic. If it's toxic, it doesn't even matter if you're right. I don't want to listen to you. Even if you're right, if you're going to be an ass, I will just throw your feedback in the trash. I'm not a Blizzard dev or anything, but yeah, I really just do not care when people come at me, and try to get all in my face. I'm like, I'm working hard here developing something, and you're just gonna come over here and act like an entitled jerk, and I just won't have it. So I imagine that's the case for a lot of developers. So just be nice, okay? No violence threats, no death threats, none of that garbage. If you are a gamer, just be passionate about games. You can have opinions, you can disagree with choices. Just share them like a civilized human being, okay? If I get invited to the PvP, we already read that one. How long will the PvP beta last? Till May 17th? Okay. Will any progress you make during the beta carry over? No, it will not. You will not carry over any progress. If you earn an achievement, that's based on some mechanic that changes, then obviously it makes no sense for you to keep that achievement. So there's a litany of reasons why the progress will not carry over. First of all, it's also in an isolated sandbox environment. They got beta servers and beta everything, beta infrastructure that they're testing everything on. When you're doing software, you often have like your production environment, and then you have a staging environment, which is very close to your production environment, or a UAT, user acceptance testing environment. You have all these different environments, but they're all isolated from each other. And so you're creating test accounts in the test environment. You're not manipulating live data. That would be dangerous. That's the whole reason of having multiple environments, so that you can test and have the production environment be separate, is so that the production environment is separate. So you don't manipulate that data with code that's not even done, that's probably buggy, that might actually nuke some of your production data. Now, you can seed the test data from the production data, like duplicate the database, and move it over to the test. So you might see some of the stuff you already have in Overwatch 1 in the beta, and that might very likely be the case. But whatever you earn over here will not translate back. So just keep that in mind. Why are some features from Overwatch not available in the Overwatch 2 PvP beta? We went over this a little bit. Profiles, competitive mode, endorsements, internationalization, those are things that happen after the core mechanics are no longer in flux. So yeah, so that's why they're not there. Yeah, it's hard for gamers to understand sometimes, because those features already exist in Overwatch 1, so why are they gone in the beta? But it's because they have to be walked back while the core mechanics are in flux, and then they can put those back on and update them to work with the new mechanics of the game. Make sure that all the systems work together. You kind of have to do things it's like road construction. You have to do it in a specific order. You can't just willy-nilly just start in a certain area. There's some things that just have to happen in a certain order. All right, lastly, what are the system requirements? There's two minimum hardware setups. One, if you don't mind playing subpar below 60 frames, and it's your only way to play, then it's probably worth it. So to minimum targeting 30 frames per second, you need Windows 7 or higher. You need a Core i3 or a Phenom X3 processor or higher. A GeForce GTX 600 series graphics card or a Radeon HD 7000 series or higher. 6 gigabytes of RAM or higher, 50 gigabytes of hard drive space. Okay, those are the minimum requirements to run it on minimum settings and get 30 frames out of it. So if that's your only way to play, it's suboptimal, but probably worth it. And Overwatch is a really smooth game. So I've never played it on that low end of hardware, but it seems to really adapt to whatever hardware I've ever run it on. So it's one of the better games in that regard. I definitely recommend playing it, even if that's the only way you can play. But the recommended settings, so this is the true minimum for you gamers out there, PC gamers, is you need Windows 10 64-bit or higher. and you need a Core i7 or a Ryzen 5 processor or higher, GTX 1060 or an AMD R9 3080. Excuse me, 380, not 3080, or higher. Okay, 8 gigabytes of RAM or more, and then 50 gigabytes of hard drive space. Now, I'm on a rig that has a 3080, a Core i9. I have terabytes of hard drive space and 32 gigabytes of RAM. I'm not worried. I'm going to be running it at whatever the max settings it'll let me run it at, hopefully. If there are issues, I'll report that. I will be nice to the dev team and report it, even though that will suck, but I'm not too worried about it. And like I said, I'm probably not the demographic they're going to be testing for mostly. So I may not even get an invite. I haven't received one yet. We're 1 minute away from the thing. So by the time this goes live, it'll already be live, of course. But Twitch drops. Okay, so real quick, I'm just going to slowly scroll through these streamers here. These are the streamers you can watch for those 4 hours. The time window, which is right here, I'll just highlight that real fast. The time window is tomorrow, April 27th, 2022. Today's the 26th. From 10 a.m. Pacific to 6 p.m. Pacific, okay? That's 10 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Mountain, 12 a.m. Central, and 1 p.m. Eastern. All right, so during that window tomorrow, you can watch 4 hours, I mean, any of these guys, and you'll get the Twitch drop with your invite, okay? A couple things to note here that I want to mention is, first of all, if you have opinions about having to support content creators in order to get your invite, that's fine. I'm not going to judge you for that. That's totally fine. But one thing you can potentially do is watch the official channel. I noticed that Play Overwatch is on the list here, and that's the official Overwatch channel. So they're going to be streaming something. If you just want the Twitch drop, turn them on, and you can mute it in the background. But with that said, I want to give you guys a couple caveats here to make sure you don't accidentally miss out on your Twitch drop. First of all, it's a rumor. I don't know if this is actually true, but I've heard that Twitch drops and view counts and stuff on Twitch are not affected if you mute the client. So if you mute the Twitch client, within the Twitch client itself, it will know that you've muted it. And there's a possibility, I don't think this is actually true, but I'm just saying it just in case it is, you want to take the extra safe path to guarantee your invite, then don't use that mute button. I've heard all sorts of things. I think it's just people making stuff up because they don't actually test it using like a scientific method of any kind. They just kind of guess based on their own Twitch stats and like some conjecture, you know what I mean? So I don't think it's necessarily true, but it's possible that it is. So leave that Twitch player unmuted. But what you can do in most browsers, if you're watching it on a computer, is you can right-click the tab. I know you can do this in Chrome. I'm using Opera GX. It also has this ability. I think Firefox also has the ability. You can mute the tab. That mutes the whole tab within your browser. There's no way for Twitch to know that you've done that. So you can go ahead and mute it that way and leave it in focus. I think putting it in the background is probably fine, but if you, like I said, if you want to be extra safe, make sure it's in focus somewhere. Put it on a computer that's just not going to go to sleep somewhere. You've turned off the power, the go to sleep settings, and just let it go. Do whatever you got to do. Put it on your Xbox and play it in the background, and then switch your TV input to something else. Like you can do whatever to watch it if you care that much about getting your invite. The other thing is, it says that you can watch, your watch time will accrue no matter what stream you are watching from the list below. It doesn't really, let's see, you will be eligible for Twitch watchers watching any participating channel for 4 hours. I don't know if that means I can watch 4 channels for an hour apiece, or if I have to watch one for 4 hours. But the latter, the one for 4 hours, I assume would be guaranteed. So if you really want to be careful, make sure you watch the same channel for 4 hours. I could be wrong. It could be just associated with you and how much you've watched eligible channels, and then you could break that up however you want. That's possible. I don't know. But if you really want to be safe, don't mute the client. Make sure it's in focus, and don't watch multiple channels. Just watch the same one. Okay. Also, do make sure your Battle.net and your Twitch account are linked. You can do that in the settings for. Is it in the settings for Twitch, or is it in the settings for Battle.net? Oh, shoot. I just realized that this thing has been over the text. I'm so sorry, you guys. Here, let me scroll this real slow again. Here is the text for all the streamers. If you see your favorite streamer in there, then you can watch them tomorrow. after 10 a.m. Pacific, and you'll be able to get in on those invites. Hopefully what I said was fine, even though the client was popped over there in OBS. I'm so sorry, you guys. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here because I am itching to go see if I got an invite and anything else. And I will put more of these videos out to update you guys if I know anything new. So thank you guys. If you want to follow me on any of my other socials and see all the stuff I create and put out there, you can go to chevcast.tv and you'll find links to everything I do.
Want more Chev? Visit chevcast.tv.